And next up will be a keynote of Mr. Nicholas Vasilius, Manager of Data Science and Engineering at Trucks. He considers economies, businesses, and IT landscapes as living and evolving beings. They're all yours, Nicholas.
All right. Goedemiddag. If you can't tell already, I have a terrible secret to share with you, which is that I am American. Now, I bring this up not because I'm one of those Americans, but because it provides me a unique point of view as we start talking about Dutch design. Also, to assure you, I've had a passport since I was 4 years old. I speak several languages, none of them really great, including English, and I've been to 46 countries. So I'm not one of those Americans. But I love journeys. And I would love to share with you a journey that we started in 2016. In 2016, PACCAR, the parent company of DAF, started our digital journey. And like many companies, we ran into the architectural peril of having a diverging platform. Unfortunately, our North American teams had chosen Team Orange, which will go unnamed, and half of our teams in Europe had chosen to go with Team Blue. I was sent over to try to align the two platforms, analyze what had been built in Europe, and see if there was anything that we could do to bring them into better alignment. So when I got there, I was presented this magnificent architecture. If you look at it, it has the ability to ingest streaming data from our factories, batch from our traditional data sources. It had a centralized hub that allowed for publishing and subscribing to data, a pooled architecture that allowed you to have a flexible, expandable, living, breathing environment. But when I saw this, I saw spinning rims, I saw a spoiler on the back, a little bit of underglow. To me, this was over-architected. And I told my team that I was working with that. This didn't make them happy. That's a picture of grumpy architects if you've never seen them. I shared with them the simplicity, the Zen-like state that our American platform was in. It was a very simple platform. Extract, load, transform, and then present in a data warehouse for self-service BI. They did not like this. They said it was too simple, it didn't have a lot of the bells and whistles that they had programmed, and we should pivot completely to what they had built. Effectively, I told them they had built the Taj Mahal. They had spent 3 years delivering a data warehousing project and delivered nothing. Now, I will acknowledge in comparison, ours was like a street musician with a credit card machine. But the important part was it delivered business value. So we ripped out what they had built, root and stem, moved them over to AWS, and I'm sure they've all been very happy since then. So fast forward 5 years. Some people got together, some couples got together, some couples broke up. We all learned new hobbies with Pokemon Go and making sourdough during the pandemic. And in 2021, I was asked to come to DAF. This was the culmination of 10 years of work. I will tell you right now, the reason I came to PACCAR in the first place was to go to DAF. I've always wanted to come here. I've always wanted to work in the European environment. This is my chance. One of the things that made me most excited about this was our new product that we launched last year. Every time I see that, I get goosebumps. And it makes me remember why I'm happy to work at the company I work at. That's an amazing product. But that's not the only thing that has changed. We've had new telematic systems. This has unlocked a whole new revolutionary source of data. But also our customers' expectations, both internal and external, have changed substantially. Our customers no longer expect a 15 or hour-long batch. Our customers expect speed. They feel the need for speed constantly. They want real-time data. So we need to re-gig our platform. So we also decided to adopt the data mesh. Okay, that was supposed to be that cowboy whistle. It works better if it's the sound effect. But you might ask, what is the data mesh?
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It's
Gets
gross.
the people going.
Not a great movie, but it's a good point. But effectively, the data mesh is applying data-driven design to the data platform for the first time, powering it with APIs and creating product thinking. In other words, a consultant's dream, which is why we partnered with Wipro to bring in an architect to help us design this and to start implementing this. And as we started looking at our platform, we took this simplified platform, and we needed to make some changes. All right, no longer could we just have batch data. We needed to embrace streaming. And of course, because we're domain-driven, we had to create a bunch of domain architect accounts that would allow for scalability and ease of use. So I came to a sudden realization that what our Dutch colleagues had built was actually something that was future-proof. They were solving problems that we in the North American market had not even considered. They were 6 years ahead of the curve. I really shouldn't be surprised, though. I have the same architects on my team. That's happy architects. But also, we're surrounded by the fruits of long-term Dutch design thinking, right? We are surrounded by the Zouderzeeworks. We're surrounded by the polders. I live right near the Hovenring. In America, people would come from miles around to gawk at the architectural wonder of what for you guys is a bike path. I love the phrase, God created the earth, but the Dutch built the Netherlands. And that phrase really underlies that long-term thinking, right? And it's the basis for the polder model. And the polder model is actually a very successful, deliberative, consensus-driven decision-making process. It is not always great at handling rapid changes or anomalies or other issues, but it's pretty good. One of the challenges we have in the cloud platform is I can't imagine a more change-riddled environment than rapidly iterating to deliver value. And so that's where you start seeing fractures in the polder model as you try to rapidly respond to architectural changes. Compare that to the American model, which, let me start by saying, it's not perfect. But we have this fail fast, fail forward, learn from your failures, fail your way to success. That's the American mindset. I'm not saying drop the polder model and adopt the American style, but we need to mind meld these two mindsets. We need to take that longitudinal thinking, that multi-year perspective, and marry it with rapid delivery. I'm going to go on a tangent here. I hate New Year's resolutions. This is going to seem random for a second. They are either set way too low and you immediately blow them out of the water, or you set them way too high and you feel like a failure for an entire year. Either way, they're pretty much useless. I prefer the idea of themes. So my theme this year was, I will make healthier decisions. It's my North Star. Every time I come to a decision, a path in the forest, I can choose the healthier decision, and I will live a healthier life at the end of the year. We need to take that approach with architecture. If you remember the saying, no plan survives first contact with the enemy, well, I'm going to say something that's going to make most project managers and architects unhappy. Just like New Year's resolutions and plans with the enemy, multi-year architectures are doomed to fail. I propose that we need to adopt minimum viable architecture. We talk about minimum viable product all the time. What is minimum viable architecture? It's the minimum sustainable architecture we need that aligns with our long-term vision, while remaining flexible, and most importantly, delivering value, right? Once you do that, once you deliver minimum viable architecture, sketch out what the next block of minimum viable architecture is that aligns to those principles, and deliver that, just like we do with product backlogs and things like that. I said I was an American, and I'm going to tell you, New York is the greatest city in the world. Highest GDP, most active. I mean, it's a global capital. But New York, much like Rome, was not built in a day. This is actually a map from the 1890s. And on the right, you can see the dark gray portion. That's actually what was built out of New York at the time. But they had sketched out a road network spanning the entire island, right? They had a plan for what they wanted to build, and then they built it iteratively in chunks. And I would like to remind you that the basis for New York, this great world capital, is of course New Amsterdam. It started with Dutch design thinking. It started with the city fathers who wanted to plan that far in advance. In many ways, New York is a success because of Dutch design. With that, I'd like to say thank you for your time, and yeah, great to meet you all.